Hello Saturnians. So, autumn is around the corner in my side of the world, and I thought I would show you my favorite decks for fall season. Even though seasons are not well defined in the central area of Brazil, I have a few decks that reflect how autumn feels to me in my little corner of the universe. But all of this transition into other months as well. If you are in a different season, I will leave links down below in the description box so that you can check my decks for each one of the 4 seasons. I've been doing some garden work today, so please excuse my dirty hands. Look at my beautiful pumpkins. I'm just gonna make a pie later. And here I have some flowers. Over there I have some wood for fire. And here I have some corn. So yeah, it's a lot of work, guys. But I'm gonna now show you my tarot table. I always have a mini table here in my garden because sometimes I just feel like being outside and reading my cards while I'm here. This is my little magical corner. And now I'm going to show you my fall decks, but before we get started, please give thumbs up to this video and subscribe if you haven't already. If you are coming back, yay! Thank you so much. You are the best. The first deck that I want to show you is an oracle deck, the Seasons of the Witch. This deck was a gift from my friend over at Falling Star channel. She has a pick a card channel, and at first I was skeptical about pick a card videos, but once I started watching her channel, I realized that her readings were always on point. They always resonated with me in my situation. She also uses beautiful oracle decks. So I mentioned to her that I did not own any oracle decks. I only have tarot decks, and she sent me this deck, and wow, I am so grateful because this deck is fascinating to me. So I'm gonna leave the link down below in the description box to her channel, and you should totally check her out. Right, so these cards, oh, look at this glare. I'm sorry about this. I'll try to remove the glare or to minimize it in the edition. Right, so these cards have the right amount of darkness to me. It gives me very subtle messages without sugarcoating them. This is not a very practical and down-to-earth deck to me. If it had a voice, it would be like a whisper in the dark. There is a message that goes with each one of the cards. This one says, "Take a breath, take it twice. Insightful reflections are guided by light." So you see how subtle the messages can be. It leaves you with something to think about. So even though they're not very practical, I am finding that these cards are great to close a reading or even to be the significator of a reading. Stick to the end, and I'm going to show you how I am pairing these cards with my tarot decks, and also how I am using them as significator cards. But you know, every single card speaks to my practice. I love this one. It says, "There is a sweet embrace in the nothingness stillness brings, a presence of self fully embodied." I mean, this is truly beautiful. I got this card when wondering whether I should contact somebody or not. So it can get really specific if you're listening to the message, right? It is literally been a journey to learn how to use oracle decks in my practice, because as I said before, I do not own any other oracle deck. This is my only oracle deck. Okay, so let's move on to my next deck that I want to show you. And that's the Greenwich Tarot deck, and I absolutely love this one. I've had it for quite a few years now, and it's still a deck that I always go back to. I have crystal clear readings with this deck. I love this Ten of Swords, Five of Wands, some apprentices arguing with each other. Really like this one also. And this deck communicates really well with the Seasons of the Witch Oracle. I have been pairing them together. I know that the Greenwich Tarot, at first, it seems to be a bright, light deck. At least that's how it felt for me at the beginning. I even watched some videos in which fellow tarot readers refer to this deck as a hug deck, or a deck that they grab when they need to feel comforted, or when they need a softer message. But for me, this deck is very honest. It gives me a slap in the face every now and then. I feel that during fall season until the end of winter, I become more introspective with my readings. And this is why I am choosing decks that reflect this introspection. Really love this Nine of Cups. Yeah, so let me move on to the next deck. Now I want to show you the Everyday Witch Tarot. The Everyday Witch Tarot is for me a lighter and brighter deck in comparison to the Green Witch. This deck for me is very good for more practical, mundane readings. It is always clear and on point. It speaks to everyday situations. And I really love the images. I can see all my daily activities in these cards, like almost literally. I use this deck when I need more pragmatic answers. For the longest time, I used this deck for my daily readings. I would pick a single card in the morning, and then at night before I went to bed, I would see how that symbol played out throughout the day, and almost always I got a literal depiction, a literal message. It was very interesting. So I do think also that this is a very good deck for beginners. As you see, the symbols are very traditional. We can still see the Rider-Waite symbolism in the cards. And I can see myself in so many of these images. Most of the cards portray a witch or an apprentice just doing their thing, engaging in their practice. It is the everyday life of a witch or anybody who studies the esoteric arts. Seven of Cups. I love this one also. This Hermit. I love it. A witch in contemplation in the woods. Two of Wands. Five of Pentacles. Ten of Wands. Oh, I love the High Priestess, but very pragmatic also. So yeah, the Everyday Witch Tarot is also a deck that I love. So next I want to show you the Druidcraft Tarot, and this is a very earthy deck. So, I enjoy the nature in my region during the fall season. This is when I go for long walks because the weather is more pleasant. It is not as hot as it is during summer, and it actually still rains a bit, so it feels great to walk and smell the rain and see the flowers. Because of that, I selected a few of my earthy decks as my fall decks, and there are so many beautiful cards in the Druidcraft Tarot. The colors are just beautiful. I love, love, love this Princess of Cups. I love that she has her eyes closed, holding a cup. This is Temperance card, and I completely see myself in this card also. And this is just a lady doing her thing. I love this Wheel of Fortune. A girl casting a circle around herself and awaiting for change. I think this is a very powerful card. I love this one. Two of Swords. I also like this one because there is a scary landscape ahead. And this is how it feels when you need to take a decision, right? Queen of Swords. I love the purple clothes that she's wearing. So overall, this deck for me captures the spirit of fall, especially here in the region where I live. I love this Hermit card, and the Hermit is an important card because I am a Virgo, so I always look at the Hermit. Three of Cups. Queen of Pentacles. So yeah, I love this deck also. So now I want to show you another earthy deck that I love, and that's the Wildwood Tarot. The Wildwood Tarot is for me a little bit deeper and more introspective than the Druidcraft. So I consider this to be a shadow version of my earthy decks, even though it's not a dark deck at all. This deck is very shamanic, very deep. I like to take this deck with me when I go for long walks. This is also a great deck for grounding and feeling connected to earth, to my root chakra, feeling like a child of Mother Earth, you know? The images are very strong. They evoke very old memories, ancestral memories. I don't particularly do ancestral work, but I think this would be a great deck for ancestral work. Because, you know, it just like it triggers memories from a distant past. At least that's how it feels for me. I love this Fool card, by the way. And there are so many interesting cards here. This Five of Cups is my favorite Five of Cups ever. This is the Two of Bells in this deck, called Fulfillment. I love all the snakes in this deck. For me, this is a reference to Kundalini energy that stays coiled in the root chakra. I also like this Nine of Pentacles. He's holding a snake, indicating self-mastery. He has already awakened. And the fact that in many images the creatures are half human and half animal, this is a reminder of the role of the senses and instincts in our spiritual journey. So I feel this deck is really good at, you know, symbolizing these two sides of the spiritual path. Seeing this Lover's card, how there is a rope around the tree and around their arms. So it's tying them to the earth. I also love this Hermit card. This is a faceless hermit. And yeah, this is overall a wonderful deck. I love working with it, especially during the fall season. So now I show you the Tarot of the Secret Forest. And this is also a very interesting deck. It has two sides. One side is colorful and the other side is black and white. But the thing I like the most about this deck is the fact that it focuses on insects, bugs, the tiny little creatures that we don't always notice. I find it very grounding and fascinating to observe insects doing their thing. I like to sit still and watch them. It's like going to a parallel dimension. And this is a good deck for shadow work, because some little creatures like scorpions are poisonous, and some are lovely like the butterflies. And we most definitely have our own inner bugs, spiders, and insects. So this is how I connect with this deck. This is the Fool card. I love this Emperor card. This is a bug taking ownership of his flower. This is the Nine of Swords. So you can still see the emotions in these cards, even though they are tiny little creatures. I really like this Hermit card also. I don't know what bug this is, but this is most definitely a creature that likes being alone on his flower. Seven of Swords, I love this one. Deceit. Three of Cups, also lovely. Ten of Swords. And I love this Devil because you can tell how this is an insect that would bite you and inject some poison. Yeah, so I love this one. And next, I want to show you the Circle of Life Tarot. And I love this one. This is a delightful deck. And I like to bring this deck to my tarot table in my garden and read with these cards in a beautiful afternoon, surrounded by my fairies with a cup of coffee and maybe some cookies. This is a deck that, this is almost like a hug deck to me. It makes me feel happy and comforted. This is not a deck that I would use for shadow work or deep work, but it brings me very positive emotions. There is strong Fae energy in these cards. I love, love, love this one. I love everything with mushrooms. So this deck helps me also connect with the elementals. I've been called to work more with the elementals this year. There are some beautiful cards. I love this High Priestess. Love the colors. I also love how they're almost human, but not really. So it really triggers my imagination. And the kids of the neighborhood really, really love this deck. This Death card, I love it. Yeah. Oh, snakes again. I love everything with snakes, obviously. So the perfect tarot deck for me has snakes and mushrooms and elementals. Three of Swords. Yeah, I love this one. So now I am going to show you how I have been pairing my new Oracle deck with the tarot decks that I already have. So this one card is from the Seasons of the Witch Oracle, and I have two cards from the Green Witch Tarot. Can you see how these images really communicate with each other? I think the images go really well together. We have a common theme here. So I pick one card from the Seasons of the Witch with a message that represents what I am feeling in relation to a situation. So I just choose one message that resonates to how I am feeling. And then I pick one card from the Green Witch Tarot to represent the obstacle or the challenge, what not to do in relation to that situation. And then another card to represent solution, what to do, how to proceed. And this works really well for me. Another thing that I have been doing is, after a reading, I will pick one card from the Oracle deck to close the readings. Again, because the messages in these cards are so subtle and vague, I love that it leaves me with something to think about, something to process, to contemplate. It's not close-ended, so it leaves room for reflection throughout the day. And this is also what I have been doing with these cards. And look how some of these cards communicate really well with each other. This is the Page of Swords with the Ritual card. And I've been getting this quite often. Also, the Potions and Spells card with the Queen of Swords. This is telling me to be a little more intellectual about my practice, right? There is a mental element in here. And from the Everyday Witch Tarot, I've been getting the Four of Swords along with the Silence card from the Seasons of the Witch, and this is a very powerful message. This is telling me about not oversharing, keeping things private. I think that the Everyday Witch Tarot and the Seasons of the Witch also go really well together. Look at these cards. There is a symbiotic relationship here. So yeah, I am having a lot of fun pairing my new Oracle deck with my tarot decks, and I take back what I said before in previous videos. I had said that I thought Oracle decks were not for me, as they can be too unstructured and open-ended for me to work with them. But I am learning that it is possible to extract very specific, deep, and profound messages if we know how to ask an Oracle deck the right questions. So I'll most definitely be adding Oracle decks to my collection. Let me know down below in the comment section, what is your favorite Oracle deck? Do you have any recommendation for me? So thank you so much, Fallen Star, for sending me this deck. And thank you everybody for watching this video. Go check Fallen Star's channel because she is absolutely amazing. And I will see you next time. Bye bye.